Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of On the Same Page, Lord Up with Friends. This week I am joined by one of my I feel like you're more involved in cosplay than like tabletop creation at this point. But we technically met at Gen Con, but we really met like more at PAX last year.
hmm
But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody, Forrest?
Yeah, so I'm Forrest, and yeah, Paige and I met through mutual friends. Um, and I think we met on the last day of Gen Con in person. I think I was cosplaying as Starfire.
Yeah, I think
And
we met briefly at the Crit Awards.
Bree, yes, that's
And
right. When we
then
were
like we didn't really chat until like the last day of Gen
the
Con
last,
when I just found you
yeah,
all in the stadium that one day.
yeah, and you were Red Riot, who's like my
Yes, I
guy.
was Red Riot. That was
Um,
the easiest UA costume. Just got the generic gym outfit.
Yeah, and like you said, I do TTRPG stuff, but I love cosplay. Cosplay is makes me so happy, and it's one of those things where it's like I love playing games and I love connecting with people over playing games, but
hmm
being an adult and having time for games is like so hard. So, it's one of those things where it's like I'll take it anywhere I can get it, but at the same time, cosplay is something that um I feel like it's easier for me to do in my downtime, and I never wanna hold someone back from being able to play their game or play games because my schedule's, um, from the pits of Tartarus, so
No, that's so fair. It's so
yeah.
hard to schedule stuff. I moved to pre-records and I still it's so hard to get people together like to the same
Yeah.
time. So it's just difficult. But I hope you do know I am excited for cosplay stuff next year because the whole reason I can't decide between Dragon Con and PAX West is because I want to cosplay at Dragon Con with you.
Oh my
Like that's the
gosh.
that's the main thing for Dragon Con for me is I can go cosplay with you or just go see people at PAX West. It's like I can't decide between the two.
Well, that makes me really happy because I just wanna cosplay with friends, honestly. And also I've heard Dragon Con is, like, the con for cosplay.
Yeah, it's definitely cosplay heavy from what I've heard. It's like the one of the bigger ones for that.
Yeah, and the other cons I've been to, they've had cosplay and stuff, but I've never been to one that's, like, very focused on it, so I
Yeah.
think that would be super fun. I'm not gonna peer pressure you or anything, I'm just gonna say I think it would be super fun.
I got some ideas. I need to work out a lot. I really want to do Pit Fighter V after
Oh,
Arcane, which we'll talk about in this episode, but like that whole sequence destroyed me. So
oh
I need to play
my
her.
I that would be awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, we can figure some stuff out if I decide to go to Dragon Con for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. But yeah, I do like to generally start these podcast episodes off before we kind of just babbled there a little bit about just like how you got into playing tabletops, like what was your experience when you first got into them, and then how that shifted into like the content that you do now.
Yeah. Um, I didn't really know what tabletop games were
Mm-hmm.
until I started hearing whispers about D&D in grad school. So that was probably around 2016, and I was living in a new country, completely new area, trying to make new friends. And a classmate invited me to do D&D, and I just said I wanted to watch. And I watched about 15 minutes, and I was um to say it politely, a little disturbed and and very unimpressed.
Mm,
Um, my first foray was very much like, should we seduce the dwarf woman? What would we be able to do with the dwarf woman? And being like, wait a second,
mm,
I don't think I like this, nor do I think I belong here. And probably literally a month later, I had someone else say, "Hey, have you ever tried D and D?" And I was like, "Actually, I did watch people play one time. Don't think it's for me." And they asked me to describe the experience. And let me tell you, this person had the charisma of like Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman. Like the way he just kind of set up this like whole other worldview for me in like 5 minutes about what D&D could be, talking about the storytelling and character like creation and role playing and
mm.
this like co-op style storytelling that you get to do with your friends. I was like, I think my first little foray into this may have been a bad one. So I want to try
Yeah.
again.
The way I just watched The
Um
Greatest Showman last night. No, that's so real. My first ever game group that I played was so radically different from any of their tables I sat at. I feel like everyone has a bad first experience with tabletop because there is some toxicity still with some of the people in the community that play it.
Yeah, that and I think that's so true, and I think that's kind of a way we can bond together with other people in this community is
Hmm.
everyone has kind of that bad experience, right? Um, so it's one of those things where it's like, I'm glad that I was able to find or have someone just, like, in my circle that helped me kinda see what the potential was.
Hmm.
And then from there, I had someone, bring a completely different person. I must have just been giving off major D&D vibes to
It's because
people.
you're a nerd, Forrest. You just give off nerdy
Honestly,
vibes.
they clock me and be like, "If she doesn't play Dungeons& and Dragons, she should." Like, I think I was giving off that vibe.
Hmm.
'Cause I had a different friend come up and they're like, "You seem like you would like this show Critical Role." And man, were they right. I guess, yeah, they recommended it to me and said that the campaign one was just ending, and if I wanted to check it out, they were actually thinking about starting a campaign and maybe watching Critical Role could be a good way to
Hmm.
kind of see what it would be like to play with people. So I said, "All right, I'll watch this last episode." So my partner and I like hunkered down and we watched this final episode, had no idea who these characters were, why this lady with a bear was crying and why this gnome was upset about not being able to wish on something.
Hmm.
I yeah, campaign 1 coming in at the very end was probably not the best idea, but it still got me hooked where I was like, whatever these people are doing and however attached they are to these characters, I want to experience that. So luckily I just joined that campaign with a friend like a month later and it went for 5 years. So we played
Oof.
from level 1 to level 21 because we couldn't
Oh.
stop at level 20. We were so into it. So it was like I went from like kind of a really bad first experience to just like the best experience ever. And then from there, I ended up leaving grad school and we moved away from that community um, during COVID of all times. And I was like, I just want to connect with more nerds. I want to be able to talk to people and connect with people on this like level of D&D, but what I've always really wanted to do is really cosplay the characters,
Hmm.
and that I felt like that piece was really missing, and that's when I started making these little videos of myself dressing up with just random shit from my closet and just kind of fell into this really cool space of other people kind of doing the same thing, whether it's like big scale cosplay or low scale cosplay. And
Hmm.
it was also really cool just to see people like in their 30s doing it because I just turned 30 and I was like, am I too old for this? Is this something that is like not something I'm
Yeah,
going to be
that's how
welcome
I
in?
still feel now. All of our friends are in their 20s, and I'm like, what the? Ugh.
I know.
It's
And
so
sometimes
weird.
whenever I like, I'm in cosplay and it's like, oh, I want to do this like cool pose and you have to like bend your knees. I'm like, oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's real. My whole right leg's kind of fucked, so I get that.
So no Mirko for you. Got it. Um,
No, I don't. I would need to do a lot of squats to beat Mirko. Let's be honest, Jesus. So where
that
be
is
that
true.
confident in her onesie? Yeah, I'm gonna need to buy like a thigh master or something. God,
That's true. Mirko is like
Mirko
beyond
is yeah,
aspirations of most
Mirko's
people,
insane. I've seen a few
including
people do it
myself.
like justice, but even coming close
Hmm.
to Mirko is fucking hard. She's a lot.
She is a lot. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And I guess it's still really nice to still be in the space, whether or not, TikTok is going away. I guess we'll
Hmm.
see. I've really loved just getting to continually be inspired across all these different platforms about nerds just being happy doing their own shit in their own little worlds, but at the same time being able to advocate for things that they believe in and kind of seeing that synergy between like different causes and people's passions. And more than anything, it's just been really nice to, I think, just be able to talk to people about things that I'm really interested in that a lot of other people in my life simply are not. The fact that we
Hmm.
just got to talk about Mirko for like 2 minutes and how hard her workout regimen would be, that's not going to happen out in the real world for me. So this is
I
awesome.
mean, when we had the like alone time at Path with me, you, and your partner, like we talked about like really deep stuff, and then just nerded out about My Hero Academia for like an hour, I think, something like that. It was so it's really not hard to just like talk about something nerdy in the community and just like kind of spiral, especially when everyone's kind of neurodivergent too. So that
Yeah.
kind of helps feed into it. So,
Yeah, and it's things like that where it's like, we get to talk about these things that we enjoy and things that we're
mhm.
passionate about, but at the same time, it's like we can go full RP in a D and
Yes.
d session and get to connect that way.
No, that's yeah, I love when I can actually sit at a table and not even roll dice. Like you get so deep into an RP moment that it's just that like there's no dice rolling for like an hour or two, like because it's so deep and so meaningful and it's so great.
Yeah.
I don't get a ton of opportunity as a player, but I do it as a GM. I like my favorite part of GM is when that happens and I don't have to really do anything. I can just sit back and watch the players like get fully invested into their characters. It's so great. It's such a great
You're a
villain to
really
watch.
good GM too. Like the NPCs and the way you like play off of
Ah,
characters, it's really good.
stop. You're gonna make me blush. I still have to get you in a longer series though. Like you've only seen me in bursts. Like you haven't actually been in a long campaign with me as a GM.
That's true. Yeah, we were in the West Marches style Strahd campaign together as
Yes.
players, but long form, other campaigns we haven't gotten to do yet, just the one shots.
I know. I miss the bus march. I feel like our characters were just starting to bond when it ended.
I know. That was a really fun campaign, and to be honest, I it's one of those things where I'm still not looking up spoilers about Strahd because I'm like, maybe one day I'll play Strahd again.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
at too. I don't really play modules typically. That was like
mhm.
my first module I ever really tried to
Same.
play. Well, technically I was in a West March that was based around Storm Giant and Out of the Abyss. But there was so many GMs running that West March, the plots got kind of so all over the place.
Mm.
By the time the West March ended, I ran like 85% of the games, and I was not pulling from either one of those modules. I had like three different storylines that I was running for people outside of the main storyline.
Oh my gosh. I really like the idea of being able to switch off being a GM with other people, but
Hmm.
honestly, I admire people that are able to do it because I am weirdly a control freak about stuff where it's just like
Yeah,
I never want to step on people's toes, but at the same time I'm just sort of like I want to hold the reins or let the reins go. It's very
that's
hard to share.
that's why I GM so much, and that's why I
Mhm.
never run modules. I need to formulate everything about the game I'm gonna run, even if I don't have the plot fully together. Like the idea sprouts the world for me, and then I just have to own the world before I can even open it up to people.
Yeah, I like the idea of building a world, but for myself, a long form campaign as a DM is so intimidating. The longest I've
Hmm.
ever run has been 4 sessions, and I thought 4 sessions was like the perfect length for me. I was like, okay, great story, we're done now.
No, everyone has to start somewhere though. I only did the West
Yeah.
March GM because I wanted a second character. There was a thing where if you ran a couple games as a GM, you could get a second character. So I did that, and then yeah, I just didn't really look back after that. I like I said, I ended up running most of those games by the time that server ended, and then we splintered off from that server and made another West March because that one kind of toxic. So I've been GMing for
Mhm.
so much longer than I've been a player, honestly. Now at this point.
So, as a GM, I know that you've done I'm kinda turning into the interviewer now, sorry. I know that you've done, like, a lot of different systems, like, I've played Call of Cthulhu with you, we've
Hmm.
played Masks together. Um, is there a system that you feel like you can call home that feels like the most, I guess,
Um,
bread and butter for you?
I feel like anything powered by Apocalypse, so like Mass,
Mm,
Monster of the Week, stuff like that. Just because I know the system so intricately, even with the different, there's like many variations in that system between like Avatar and City of Mist and some other systems that are different enough to be distinct, but kind of all fall back on that same storytelling system.
mm.
Um, so like if I have a really cool idea and I don't want a super crunchy system, it's kind of what I tend to default to because I don't really have to think about the rules too much. And then just focus on a narrative story. Because honestly, I like the narrative more than combat. If you even have combat in Mask, like I beat the shit out of you guys in that one shot a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Um, but it's not necessarily the focus. It's not even in that superhero game like that. It's not the combat's not the focus. It's more the cinematic type of combat than high level. Like we're gonna spend hours doing this 3 minutes of combat.
Yeah, honestly, that's something that I usually find very intimidating about at least the D&D 5e rules is that
Hmm.
combat can take so long. And as a GM, I'm always in my head of like, are people getting tired of this? Is this moving too slowly? Is this having any impact? Do the stakes feel high enough or
Hmm.
are they too low to go for this long? Yeah.
Yeah,
So I agree that.
combat in D&D just it takes getting used to.
Mhm.
The way I balance it now is so much different. When I started, I prepped so much more when I was just GM to what I do now. Now I just I kind of have a way I gauge CR, but even then, CR is so subjective in D&D that I usually just give my big baddies or even like their lieutenants, I give them a lot of stuff, but like they unlock more if the fight's too easy. Like if the fight's too easy, then I'll slowly access more of their character sheet type of thing.
Mm.
Or if the fight's too hard, I'll go the other way and start scaling some stuff down as the fight goes. So it's like at the end of the day, like even with D&D, like I feel like combat doesn't have to be super crunchy. Um, as long as your players kind of know their characters, they're pretty quick with the uptake. Unless you're getting like
Yeah.
someone playing like a high level wizard for the first time or some shit like that, because that's insane. Um,
Yeah.
I think most people kind of have a feel for their character by the time you get in combat, at least somewhat. So it is what it
Yeah,
is,
I think
but
that's why I like punchy characters. Um,
that's so
like I'm
fair.
gonna punch a few times and I'm good and done. I am so
Yeah,
intimidated by druids, wizards, and sorcerers. Those are the three that I'm like, oof. I
yeah.
my brain capacity, yeah.
I tend to default to spellcasters for some crazy. I have a little mini series coming up after PAX, where it's like a Oops All Goblins game. So we all rolled for like everything, even level. And I'm the only one that rolled a level 20 character. And
Ah,
I'm playing a paladin cleric. And the amount of stuff I have on this character sheet is insane. I don't even know how I'm going to play this character yet. Because, like, they're Oathbreaker, paladin slash death cleric. And they have like all this
oh my
creepy
gosh.
high level death magic. And I have for my legendary item, I took power armor, so like Iron Man type armor just comes up around my character, and I flavored it necromatically. And I just have all this high level shit, and I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm gonna play this character yet. Like I know they're a melee character from what I'm looking at, but like they have so many spells too, and I'm just like, I don't. This is a lot. This is gonna be fun, but it's gonna be a lot.
It's a gift and it's a curse.
Yeah, so playing wizards can be annoying, or even high level spellcasters. I even have like a level 10 character for that set in or that like world because it's different campaigns too.
Hmm.
And even she's a sorcerer. She's straight sorcerer. And even her, she has like so many options. Like she has a general vibe of what her magic's kind of based around. But even then, I have so many spell options that I'm like, I don't know what the vibe's going to be till that first combat. I need to really, like, there's so many options. I'm going to need to really play around with her before I get an idea.
Yeah, I do like the idea of building a high level spellcaster, but man, like the
Mm.
intimidation factor is there. I think for myself and thinking about like character creation, most of the time, like I try to build out everything I can. And then whenever I think about their combat utility, I'm like, oops, I guess we're gonna see what happens there.
Yeah, I don't ever really build around combat or RP specifically. It just depends. I get like a character vibe, and then I kind of build
Yeah.
around that. Sometimes that comes out really good mechanically in combat. Sometimes that comes out really good in a skill set. It just depends on the character, but they're usually always really good at like one specific thing. Like going back to the Strahd game, Hell's whole thing was just fire magic. Like everything was built around fire magic. I had elemental adept. I had a lot every fire spell I could take up to my level, and just really playing into her heritage more than anything else because her whole backstory was like fighting her fucking heritage, as we talked about
Mm.
at Gen Con. That was like
Yeah.
her whole thing was trying to run from that. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna make her run from it, but that's all her magic is based around, so she can't really run from it.
Yeah, I usually get inspiration from, like, other character vibes. I like
Hmm.
to take from stories I really love and then try to, like, fit that into, I guess, like, the character and their abilities.
Yeah.
I'm building a character for a new campaign that I'm gonna join, and I was really inspired by Lady Nagant. Um,
Ooh, I love her.
I
She's
am
so good.
obsessed with her. I want more Lady Nagant, so I, like, really love Lady Nagant, and then I kind of connected her, like, issues with authority to Jinx a little bit from
Mm,
Arcane,
yeah, I can see
and
that.
then Faith from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I don't know if you've met Faith
Not
yet.
met Faith yet. I've heard. My friend Isabella keeps bugging me to like catch up because she has so many Buffy Faith fan fictions to send me.
Oh my gosh. That's a deep, deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Like I'm fully down for all the Sapphic stuff now, but like
Oh,
I
ho,
am
ho,
so
ho.
behind. I saw a clip
There
of a Willow Terra scene in like season 5 and I was just like, this is so cute and gay. I need to catch up.
oh my gosh. You're it just gets better as it goes
No,
along.
I'm excited. I need to sit
Um,
down and do it
yeah.
soonish. I have too many
So,
stuff.
yeah,
I have too much
essentially,
stuff to watch though.
that I think that's where I'm at too, and then I also really love rewatching stuff, hence Buffy. Um,
Mm,
yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
with this character that I'm building, I kind of built it out, and then I was like, "Okay, well, what's, like, the main thread here?" And I know with Hell, it was fire, but my main thread was, like, I think it's daddy issues.
That's valid.
That's the vibe.
I mean, to be fair, Hale also had daddy issues, so
Yeah,
it
that's also
tracks.
true.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if we would have played in that game longer, Diana would have had her dad show up and it would have been great.
Oh, the trauma.
So much trauma. Um, but yeah, I love the idea of just like kind of building out one specific thing and kind of playing off it. Like it's the so fun to kind of focus on that and then see how the character develops out from there. Um, I just love character creation. Like that's my favorite type of like thing as a player. It's just like the build the character themselves out and then get to see them flesh out as it goes.
Yeah, and I'm always torn between, trying to do something about a character that is just full of hope and happiness
Hmm.
and kinda brings that balance to a party, but I also love making a super tragic backstory.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's the thing. It's hard to play innocent. It's
yeah.
really hard to play a genuinely good innocent person in a game,
Mhm.
especially in games like D&D or like a lot of the settings in D&D because everything's just kind of a little tragic to begin with. You're in a world
Yeah.
full of magic and monsters and mayhem and devils and whatnot. Like it's kind of hard to remain completely innocent and all of that.
Yeah, and, yeah, I try to do it with, a character I'm playing right now. Her name's Fox Friend, and she has a very
Yes,
tragic
I've
backstory,
seen clips of
but
Fox Fred and adorable. I love her.
oh, yeah, she I love her because she's very much just like almost like a stray dog that got adopted, where it's like
Hmm.
there's a tragic backstory, but now she's happy and just wants to see the best in people and, like, make people happy. But, yeah, in these adventure campaigns, there's a lot of gloom and doom. So, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm playing a very happy character, but it's so hard. It's I don't know,
It's
maybe it's, like, the way the world is, it's
I
so
think
much easier to
so
be
many
pessimistic.
people that play tabletops are traumatized and they
Yup.
everyone puts themselves in their characters, so it's hard to not play into it.
That's also true. One time I was, like, kind of thinking through, like, the big characters that I've played that
Hmm.
I felt, like, very attached to, that I've been in longer campaigns with, and I kinda connected the dots through all of them, and I was like, "My trauma is always here." Like,
Oh,
I always
that's so
the
valid.
red thread was very red.
My first two major characters, and this is when I was very cis and very like baby gay. My first character was a detective, and they were supposed to be like kind of masculine, but they had the most feminine character art that I commissioned ever. Um, and I looking back on there, I was like, oh, so this was just like my expectations as a smart older kid versus what was really going on with that character. And then my second character, I made such a childlike character who also was like fueled by like they had an addiction to combat and they had like anger issues to the point where like I had a role where they would black out if they failed because of genetic stuff. And I was like,
Ooh.
oh, that's my rage and not being able to be a child growing up. Cool. That's what that character was.
And yeah, and then you
So,
look back on it, and you're just like, how did this happen?
yep.
Like,
I look back and I'm like, oh, that's what that is. That's what that character was. Cool, cool, cool.
but
Love that.
at the time, it's just like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
I'm
just
just
a
making a character. I have all these ideas.
yeah, it's just a fun little concept. Like, oh yeah, you can just kind of lose cool, and he's like very childlike and fun, and just loves to run around and make friends. And it's like, oh, this is such an interesting character. Oh man.
There's have you ever played Honey Heist?
Not yet. I have it. I was gonna run a one shot of it, like this past month for trans stuff because I want to run some type of trans charity right now with everything going on, like a charity game.
Yeah.
So I think I probably still will do that in like the next month or two. But yeah, it looks so much fun.
I feel like Honey Heist, from the times I've played it, it is the perfect game to just heal your inner child. Like
Mm.
there's so much just happiness in that game. I don't know how to describe it. Like it is so
Yeah, it's so
it's
silly.
such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
It's
my
good.
idea for it to run it as a one shot is hilarious. It's to get a table full of trans and non-binary people only for it for the one shot. And they are a bunch of bears trying to steal HRT, which is honey replacement therapy.
Oh
It's
my
just honey-based
gosh.
hormones that are being hoarded by these shitty people at this like festival,
I love it. I
right?
love it.
It can be so sweet. But yeah, I gotta figure out when I can get the specific people I want to play because there's like a specific group of people I want for that game.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be so cute. I also have a we'll have to talk more when I actually get close to running it, but I do have a game based off Vox Machina that you would probably be cast for because you know you're probably one of the biggest critters I know. So
Uh, please cast me. I want to play so bad. But a Vox Machina campaign? Are you like using
it's
campaign settings? What's going on?
it's gonna be in Vox Machina's like campaign set in, but it's gonna be years after their campaign, and it's gonna be very heavily based around vestiges. Like vestiges will play like the main part, and the Vox Machina group will be kind of either retired or gone, so they're not like really there anymore. So it's kind of like in the shadow of them, and these vestiges are choosing new people. It might not necessarily be the ones that they have, but there's Matt kind of left vestiges pretty open ended with how he set them up in the world lore. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I could just create vestiges for people and base them around their characters, and then like explore this familiar set in.
Oh my gosh. That would be really fun. Um, like my brain is already like character, 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 just
No, I got you.
rolling dice.
It'll probably be mid to late next year because I have a Dragon Age campaign as my next one planned for early next year, and then I don't really know after that. So, but I've already started mapping out the gist of that campaign. At least like the general notes that popped in my head. I have so many campaign story dots because I'm like, oh, I need to write this down immediately. So,
Yeah, I my notes app is a little bit crazy with stuff like that, where it's
oh
like you
yeah.
have, yeah, character idea, campaign idea, or just random shit you need to throw down for about like a magic item.
Yeah, between my
It's
notes
crazy in
app and my
there.
Google Drive, it's needs organized bad, like very badly. It's insane.
Yeah, it's more organized than my brain though. So,
No, that's fair. That's why I have to write shit down
yeah.
like immediately on my notes if I don't have a computer near me because I will forget it immediately. So, but I think we are about yeah, we are about halfway. So let's switch over to our Lord topic, which we kind of touched on earlier, but we're going to talk about Arcane because both of us are rotten from the finale, and we need to
Arcane,
talk about
arcane.
Arcane because what the fuck? First, preface: if you haven't watched, finished season 2 at 3, turn this off and go watch it because we're going to have a lot of like a lot of fucking spoilers right now. So
It's all
it's
spoilers.
all spoilers. So if you can't blame us or give me plenty of warning, turn that podcast off, go watch it, and come back. Oh man, but I don't even know where to start this
Where
conversation.
oh my well, first off, I have to ask, did you have a favorite character?
I mean, Vi is the easy choice because Vi looks very much like me, kind of with the hairstyle and like the vibe. Um, But my favorite character is probably Lust, even though we barely see her, just because she's the only trans girl in the show. She's fucking amazing. I love her so much.
I love her character design. Like the character design of Lust is just
I
flawless.
I'm really hopeful because I know it's gonna be years before we get the next show in the universe.
Yeah,
But it's looking like it's gonna be Nazis with the way it left off with Mel and stuff. So I'm hopeful that Les will be in the next show because she worked for Mel in
that's true.
the show. So I could see her continuing onto the show and having more screen time potentially. But we'll see. I'm just
The
hopeful.
fans want it.
I'm very hopeful. I want to cosplay Les. Les is on my cosplay list.
Oh, so like everything about her whenever she showed up on screen, I was just mesmerized. Like the art was incredible, the voice was incredible, um,
Hmm.
the drug administration was incredible.
Yeah. I love that she was there just
Yeah,
this
I
biomet fuck the whole time. That was like her only thing.
yeah. I think I got really attached to Echo by the end
Echo
of it. Yeah.
Echo had such a great story arc at the end.
Mhm.
He's stronger than me. I would not have left the other universe. Like,
No.
there's no shot. There's
Man.
no shot to go back to the tragedy. Like, no shot at all.
I was thinking, I was like, if we were to give Echo a D&D class, like I do think that like Artificer would fit in there. But at the same time, I was like, dude has a heart of gold. Like the way people want to play paladins, like
I
stereotypically. Yeah.
hmm, I don't even know what I'd cast Echo as. I feel like he'd be an artificer, clockwork sorcerer mix,
Yeah.
because it fits in the whole time vibe. Or even if we want to give him some martial, maybe some Echo Knight.
Oh,
Like it's
yeah. I
literally in the name,
Echo
Echo
Knight.
Knight. Yeah, Echo Knight. He could be the one class I tried to build for, an Echo Knight's clot sorcerer.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it'd be a sick build, but I just with that scene in season 1 with him and Jinx fighting
Hmm.
was one of the best like animated fight sequences I've ever seen. But then they gave us Echo and Powder dancing in the alternate universe and I was like, how did they one up themselves? This
Yeah,
is incredible.
it's so sad because he fell in love with her all over again.
Yep.
I was just like, he fell in love with her all over again to let her go to try to actually save his version. And then the scene with her repeatedly trying to kill herself and him stopping it, I was bawling. I was done.
I really loved that. That the moment he got back, he went to Jinx and just saved her over and over again. I
Hmm.
love that Jinx had people because she had Vi, but I love that she had Echo there that was like not wanting to give up on her either.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. And
It's so
everyone
good.
accepting towards the end that she was Jinx now, but still trying to like reconcile that and accept her for who she is now. Because they got over there was such a struggle of like Powder versus Jinx for a lot of season 2, and then like Vi and Echo just kind of accepted that towards the end, and it's just it was so good.
Yeah. I thought the ending was really great. And we already talked about this a little bit, but it
Hmm.
it left it so open and ambiguous to the point where, the fan theories are already out there and people
Yeah,
are really wanting Jinx or Powder to be alive. Yeah, but I think the main impact of her story is that like Jinx didn't choose to like I don't know, not fight for something. I
yeah,
really love that she showed up to fight for something because at the end she looked like she had really given up, and I think the message of like choosing to fight is so powerful.
yeah. I mean, they obviously wouldn't have done it without them because Echo saved the whole fucking day at the end. Um, which was insane, that whole end scene. Which we find out that Arcane was just truly a love story between Jace and Victor at the end of the day. That was the
Oh,
gay. I even with the set scene. That was the gayest scene in that whole show. Literally, so good.
I really loved that scene. I was just like, these two guys, they've been through it, and in every universe,
Yep,
like
only
they
you can save me in every universe. I
oh
so cute.
And
Oh,
it's so good too, just because I feel like in season 1, there was so much trying to pull them apart.
yeah,
Um, and I love that the end of of their story was them choosing to be together.
yeah.
Um, Even if it meant like their end or whatever that was, because I don't know what was going on with Jace's the how Hextech was like changing him and
Yeah, it was like
everything.
infecting him in a way, kind of.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know if they're actually gone or if they're just like out there, maybe a part of
Yeah, I don't know.
magic. I don't know.
Yeah, it leaves it kind of ambiguous. It leaves a lot of stuff ambiguous because they're like, okay, now we're gonna move on from these because obviously they
Yeah,
all survive because they're in the game, or at least in some context. So I don't think they're trying to have a lot of big on-screen deaths for major characters. Is kind of they kind of leave it open-ended like that because of that. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that show is just so tragic in general. I mean, it's a tragedy. That's what the show is. The show is a tragedy at the
mhm.
end of the day. Like it's there's happy endings, but the show at the end of the day is supposed to be sad. Um, Even the Kate and V stuff is, which I love them because they're a gay couple on screen and they're very hot together. Still hate that Kate's a cop, like so much, and I hate that Vi had to be a cop. So like I try to ignore that part of it, but
Honestly, I kind of appreciated Kate's demise a little bit just because I was like, grief is a beast.
yeah,
And
I feel like she needed humbled a little bit more, like how Jace was.
yeah,
Like she needed a more. She got like the grief, but then kind of just went full dictator with it. I think she needed a down more of a downbeat in there.
I loved that moment whenever she was like, yeah, and Bessa straight up played me.
Well,
I
yeah,
loved whenever she just admitted it full stop. Um,
yeah.
because for me, that was like, okay, yeah, bitch was humbled.
How loud did you scream when Maddie died?
Oh my gosh, I think I stood up.
I
I was
was
like,
cheering. I was so fucking happy. Uh,
well, one, it was the coolest sequence because for Mel to just like come out of the shadows and
mm-hmm.
just be full force with her powers was super cool. And also a little bit unexpected, but at the same time, I knew that Maddie was up to no good. I knew that she was a snitch.
Yeah, I didn't
Like,
trust
I
her.
did not trust her.
I didn't trust her at all. If she was fangirling over V and then just immediately going and fucking feeds ex girlfriend, like what the fuck? That's very quick to move in on something's territory if you actually value that person. That's really wild.
Yeah. And then how close she was always like following behind Kate and everything. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, mm-mm. Like that is a double agent if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
So I thought that she was gonna like out herself in that big battle. I did not see that bullet ricocheting like that. That was
I
such a big
was.
surprise.
Yeah, I was like, "There's no way Kate's dying like this. Something's gotta happen." And then she was pulled here, like, and then boom, and it was like, "Ah, yes, so great. Thank God."
I honestly, whenever she was like gearing up for the shot at Kate, I honestly thought that she was just gonna miss. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, we have not seen her actually have a lot of prowess in combat. She's just been like kind of
No, the only time we saw her in
playing.
combat was with that on blue skin guy when they were getting their ass beat in the truck. Like that
Yeah,
was the only time they were shown in combat really. Is even in the task force stuff, it didn't really focus on them. They were just kind of in the background.
exactly. So I was like, what if she misses? I was like, either Kate's dead or maybe Maddie's just really bad at her job. But
Yeah,
I did not. I loved how it ended up.
yeah,
I wish we had had more with Mel. So if the next show is about Noxus, I'm gonna be very happy.
yeah. I feel like it
Um,
has to be. It's the most open ended way to segue.
yeah,
And there was also a teaser for Swain, who's a major character in Nazis towards the end. With one of the ravens, like they showed that the three-eyed
the
raven,
three
which
eyes.
is his character's thing. So it shows that it would be Nazis because technically Mel's in charge of Nazis now because Mbessa died. So
Yeah.
it would make the most sense because there's still all that stuff with the black roses or black thorns or whatever that they had to tie up with her brother too. So it'll be interesting, but it's gonna be years before we get something new. So we just have to wait and see.
Probably.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing all of the cosplays of people from this show. It
yeah,
was probably like 6 hours after, uh, the pit fighter Vi, uh, episode dropped where I started seeing the Pit Fighter Vi cosplays, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like she's hot and she's cool, but how are these people this fast?
Yeah, at
It
the
was
airing of
incredible.
this, at the recording of this podcast, I've only been a lesbian officially for 2 weeks, and I've been dying over Pit Fighter Vi. Like, and my feed is so full of Kate and Vi stuff now, and it's just like, God damn it.
Oh my gosh. My feed is a lot of Kate and Vi, but I've also been getting a lot of Thirsty Victor, and I have to say I kind of get it.
Mm.
I love season 1 Victor, and then even Victor in season 2, I was just like, what a guy. Like at
Yeah,
least he always knows what he wants.
he became Jesus pretty much in season two.
Yeah. I think my favorite nickname for him was Twink Jesus. I really
Honestly, it's
like that.
so valid, so valid.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I love those two little gay guys. Actually, I don't. I love them together. I don't really love Jace a ton. Jace did a lot of fucked up shit too. I don't fully love his character. I feel like he got what he deserved towards the end, though. He really went through it. Um,
Oh my gosh. The episode where we had the alternate universes,
hmm
where Echo is, spending time with people he misses or wishes they were still there. And then Jace was just like in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Jace is
Oh,
getting the treatment right now.
I was also so sad about Hermidinger being left behind.
Oh my gosh.
It was
But
so.
also,
Oh,
he
damn.
was so, I think he was so happy because I think he really believed in Echo. So I was like, way to go out on a high note, man.
Yeah, because he saw what his last apprentice turned into. Because Jace really
Yeah.
got fucked up after they worked together, and he was like seeing promise in this new young person who was just a genuinely good person.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was so sweet. I mean, they met. They were both doing the same thing. Like Hermione was trying to go down to help, and he was up top trying to help, and they were both getting kind of shunned. So I love their little bond that they had there for a little bit, but it was so sad.
I agree. I honestly didn't see. I thought maybe if he got out, he would get to stay in the alternate universe. Not the case.
No,
Don't
I
know
just
why that's not the case, but it wasn't.
no. I think that alternate universe was a result of whatever happened. I don't think it was like a static thing.
Ah,
So I think it kind of just fell apart when Echo went back.
man. And if I were Jinx, alternate universe powder, and I saw the Echo that was like fainted on the floor, and then I saw that Echo that was getting like
Hmm
time shifted away, I think I would have been like, kind of want to go.
Yeah. I think she realized that like Echo, this was a completely different Echo, and she fell in love with
Yeah.
him again. And I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. I hate this so much.
And
Oh,
then they gave us that little snippet of her opening the drawer and having the large pieces of the broken hex tech.
mm-hmm.
What a little breadcrumb to just drop.
Yeah. It's so interesting to see how they tie it together because it was all based on that mission in the first like beginning of everything going wrong and V dying. So Hex Tech never became a thing because a kid died
Yeah.
around the Hex Tech stuff. So they canceled it. Like it never became a thing.
And then like Victor and Vander like got to make up and were like friends again.
Mm-hmm.
I also love that they gave us the backstory of Victor, Vander, and Felicia, and kind of Felicia going into motherhood, and that
Mm-hmm.
like the three of them being close and supportive. What an alternate world.
Yeah, that
Um,
was so cute.
yeah,
Xander was the one who named Vi.
it's just precious. I've
So
also
precious.
seen people talk about like Jinx's hair and
Mm-hmm.
how it kind of modeled after Silco and
Yeah.
like the main reality. And there's just little details like that that people keep pointing out. I'm just like, there's so many things that make this show so well done.
Yeah, the team was really good at laying a lot of like groundwork and like very visual stuff. Like even like the fight with
Mhm.
Bessa versus Mel and Caitlyn, how Caitlyn specifically moved the knife to hit her left eye so she could still use her sniping eye because she always snipes
Oh,
from the right. Like just like
so
little details spread out throughout the show that you look back and it's like, oh damn, that was so good.
yeah. And We waited like 3 years from the premiere of season 1 to this, and I'm even though, like, season 2, I think, had, some faults
Mm-hmm.
that people have rightly pointed out, or at least not faults, maybe, like, more areas for critique, I am still so impressed with, like, the quality of the show,
Yeah.
especially because right now we're kind of in, like, a content engine where there's all of these new Marvel movies or um, like every week Netflix is dropping a new show and canceling another one that people love. Like,
Yeah, the amount of shows that you cancel over 2 or 3 seasons, or even one season now, is just insane. And like trying to find like lesbian content for TV shows is so hard because so
mhm.
many have been canceled like within a season or two.
Yeah,
It's such a struggle. Like some of my favorite shows have not made it nearly as far as they went. Even like Supergirl was like canceled so much earlier than it was supposed to be. It's like 4 or 5 seasons, I think, which is a lot, but like not a lot for like the rest of the CW superhero shows.
right. Because the rest of them had pretty long tenures, almost like too long, and
Yeah,
some of
Flash
them.
had like 10 seasons, and Arrow had
Yeah,
like 8. And even I think even Superman and Lois is going pretty strong here before they're ending. So yeah,
yeah,
it just sucks. It's a lot of content just gets pushed out quickly and then just disappears because they want to move on to the next thing.
yeah. And I don't know who's making those decisions, but I feel like they're making the wrong decisions.
It's the people who aren't actually absorbing their own content and just trying to make money.
Exactly. So I am really glad that Arcane they got to like choose when they
Yeah.
finished this arc
Yeah,
because
they got to
otherwise,
wrap it up because Arcane was supposed to be like
yeah.
5 seasons originally or something, and they like cut so
Whoa.
much of the budget.
Mm.
It's just
Yeah, I think it's really really great whenever a show gets to choose how they
hmm
end. So I'm glad that they got to do that.
yeah.
Um,
There's definitely some
yeah.
shows out there that didn't really get to do that, and then they just like the ending was just open ended because they never got to wrap it up.
Yeah. I really loved a show that came out recently called Chaos, and it got canceled so quickly after
The
it
the
came
Greek
out.
God show.
Yes.
Yeah, that thing got canceled so quickly.
And I did you get to watch it?
No, I haven't watched it yet. Maddie was telling me about it. I was going to, and then it got canceled like before I started. I was like, well, I don't want to. I
Oh,
don't want to watch it now and not get a resolve at the end.
yeah. Honestly fair. It's very good and very interesting and unique, but then it got canceled and it's like, well, great. Like the amazing open ending that they
Yeah,
gave us is just there now.
people don't want to let stuff develop. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. It makes me upset, but it's also a reason why I really love like My Hero and Buffy because I do love longer saga,
hmm
like epic type of stuff that gets to have the time it needs to
Did the
explore
newest
like
season of
more
My Hero
complex
finish
things.
now?
I think there's like another movie that's coming out,
Yeah, I did
but
see
I
the
think the
movie.
last
It's like
season was the
what,
last season.
Dark All Might or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch it. I was waiting for the season to end before watching it because I didn't. I know I was like, I don't want to have to wait. I'm just gonna wait till the whole thing's out so I can binge it.
That yeah. I think it's all out now, sub and dub.
Yeah, I'll have to
Um
start watching it then.
Yeah,
I'm
and
behind on
with
my
Arcane
anime.
with Arcane too, it's, one of those things where now it's over, I'm like, now that I'm just gonna rewatch it over and over again like I do other shows.
I heard there's talks that they might be developing another manga in that universe, like in that same
Oh,
universe going forward. So I'm waiting to see what will come out with that. But I just saw a news article about it today, so I don't think it's just a thought right now. But that would be really interesting if they continued that universe.
yeah.
I just love My Hero. I'm playing in a My Hero game with B and all of them right now, and it's so much fun.
Oh, wait, okay, so in a My Hero game, how do you get your quirk?
We're playing Mask, so we just kind of flavor it based on
Oh,
what playbook we're using. Like I'm doing the Bull playbook, which is just the brute force playbook. Um, and my quirk is these gauntlets that kind of work as a copy quirk. So the gauntlets themselves are just like an enhancer that make me stronger, more durable, that kind of stuff. Um, but they can copy quirks from non-mutant quirks, like anything that's like an emitter or what's the other type of quirk called? Transformation quirk. That they
okay.
can see within sight, but it doesn't copy it exactly. It just gives it an ability that only works within like punch and distance from her that she
Mm,
can use. So she's like a close range fighter. Um, So like I copy Kirishima's quirk and it just turns my metal gauntlets into metal armor instead. I
That's cool.
copy Bakugo's quirk. I just get concussive punches. So like it works for different people. Like I can't copy Ares or Deku's because they're stockpiling quirks. I can't copy like some of the mutant quirks and stuff, but it's been really fun playing around with it and like experiment with how it works and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I just unlocked my moment of truth for that character too. So I'm like, I need a good moment to do this. But it also says that when you use it, whoever like you escape from finds out. My character's backstory is what they were an experiment for All for One. And All for One's still alive in our universe. And my character spotted him at the end of last session that we had. So I'm scared.
Yeah, that's all sticky.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then Morgan made their parents like villains, and I think some of our other characters are tied into villains and hero stuff. So like we're in for it. B's gonna fuck us up.
Oh my gosh. I love my hero, but honestly, I think I really just love like I think a red thread between like Arcane or my hero. Um trying to think of or like Full Metal. I just really love stories that give you reconciliation as like a main
Hmm.
thought piece, and all of those do that so well.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reconciling with All for One, but um,
No. No. No.
yeah.
No. 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 That's gonna be interesting. Just I kind of based her idea off of Nine from the first My Hero movie, how he was like a kind of a clone quirk of All for One's quirk, how he could store like certain ones. So it's kind of similar to that. Um, But yeah, it's gonna be really fun to play. Like my character's in full panic mode all of last time we played. Um, because we were running from something else and like I passed a check and I just looked up in like a skyscraper and it looked like a very familiar figure with a mask on. And I was like, oh, you motherfucker, B. How dare you? So I think we're about to get a drop. So we were like meeting Azawa and Deku and Bakugo. There's only people tied to All for One that were meeting us to talk with our group. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
this will be great. Because my character
I
also doesn't trust any of them of Class 1A, or I guess 2A now, because I made their adopted mom Midnight, who dies.
oh
So she blames that class and Izawa for that.
oh, that is so sad. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I've had so many sad moments with it. It's so great. She's so trauma filled.
Okay, but Midnight would be such a good mom.
I
Oh my
know, and
gosh.
she was, and my character's sad about it.
Oh my
We had
gosh.
our entrance exams. We arrived late, so to speak. We had to fight Bakugo, Kirishima, and Uraraka, and me and Jasper's character got separated to fight Bakugo and Kirishima, and my character just went full tilt on them and was just literally yelling right back at Bakugo and getting into it. Like it was so heated. It
Oh
was so great. I used howitzer impact on Bakugo though, and it was so cool. I
my
used his own
gosh.
finishing move on him.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like so much fun, but also
It's
really
such
sad.
yeah
I can't think about Midnight too much. Like, man, I
yeah. I'll have
really
to tell
hate
you
that.
something about that character off the stream just in case they watch it because I have an idea for her. It's gonna be so sad,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
but it's
You
gonna be
know it
so
would go
great.
good with this trauma? More
It's
trauma?
yeah, it's so cool. It's gonna be so good, and I think it's gonna be coming up relatively soon. So we'll see. But yeah,
Oh man, yeah, tell me about it whenever we end the call because I just need more My Hero content.
seriously, we need to just play in more games together for us. That's the thing. We need to be in a game together as players soon.
Yeah, I agree. I I just want to be in more games, honestly.
Hmm.
And I know we've been talking about another game together that you're putting together, and I think that one sounds really fun. I don't know if you've like talked about it yet, so I don't want to like spoil anything.
I don't think so. Oh, are you talking about the God Killer series?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's I've kind of mentioned it. It's I don't know if I'm really doing a formal announcement for that. We have the first session for that. Let's see, when's your episode air? The second. Like 2 weeks or like a week and a half after this. So I'm pretty sure I'll have something up for it by then. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm really excited to see how everyone's stories are gonna connect in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're all going to reshape the world. Each one shot of it is the kind of the premise. Like after each god or god killer dies, because you guys can die too. Um, just seeing how the world's affected is going to be fun to then it's jump forward in time and see what the next character does.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think that sounds really fun. I'm excited for it.
what god did you choose again? I don't remember off the top
I
of my
want to
head.
say illusion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was seeing what everyone else was choosing. I was having such a hard time deciding. And then I saw illusion and I was like, I need some Loki. So
Okay, I can make very Loki based. I can do that. Don't tempt me with a good time. I can play Loki.
Well, that's who I thought of, but then I was like, man, illusion could be so interesting in terms of like trauma.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some
yeah.
ways to play it because it's the premise of these one shots you're gonna go is like you start off pretty much killing someone in that church because you need to just get your spark of your god killer. And trying to basically you only each kill one god, so like each of the gods will have disciples. They're kind of like an in between.
Yeah.
And then it's just the journey from that to be like, oh, I have this power now. I can try to get revenge somehow and kind of just develop in that story from
Mm,
start to finish. So it'll be really interesting to see how everyone's develops.
yeah. And I haven't caught up on Castleton yet. But I definitely want to see that 'cause so many people I know have been playing in it.
I have so much trauma for my character coming up with that too. I like playing sad characters. I'll have to actually show you character. I got character art of a really sad moment that happened that hasn't been aired
Oh,
yet. I won't be able to release it until after Saturday's episode because the rest of my big reveal stuff comes out Saturday. Um, but it's so sad and it's so good. It's the story's so messy. I'll talk. I'll just talk more after this is off the air. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
I love that people are doing stuff like that. I'm just waiting for someone to do a TTRPG inspired by The Circle, honestly.
I would love that. I used to be super into that show. I actually am friends with one of the contestants that was on one of the shows on
Whoa.
season 3 or 4. Sophie.
No, I can't remember. I can't remember everyone's names.
Yeah, it was the gay girl that was on one of the earlier seasons. But I made friends with her partner who's on Twitch as well, like a fellow Twitcher streamer, and we were just gaming together, and I met her through that. So I'm
Ah,
friends with the two of
that's
them now, which
awesome.
is it was kind of a cool thing because Ginny was more obsessed with that show than I was, but then I made friends with someone from the show.
Yeah,
So
I always binge it when it comes out, but then I like instantly forget it. But I love the concept of it.
that would be such an interesting thing to run as a tabletop game because then like are you playing your character or are you playing your character playing a character?
Yeah, like there's so many different angles you can go with it. So,
I feel like you would
I
have
mean,
to
I'm
go
not
kind
gonna
of
make it,
modern
but
with
someone
it.
should.
You would have to go like kind of modern with it, I feel like. So like people have a
Yeah.
point of reference if you're playing someone else. But it could be kind of fun to fuck with. And I feel like you wouldn't even be able to like tell the players who's all in the game. Like everyone would have to be a surprise. Like it would
Yeah.
have to be pre-recorded. Like it would I feel like I'm already trying to think of how to make it work. And there would be like there's there would be so many moving parts, I feel like, to get that together. It'd be fun to try to brainstorm it. And I need to stop because I have too many other ideas right now that I'm working.
You have too many other ideas.
See,
Remember the notes
this
app.
is my problem. This is why I GM so much. But no, but no, this has been fun. I'm really excited for more Arcane stuff, even though it's over. I'm starting to look into Kate V fanfits to read because
Yep.
I need something to tide me over in the meantime. But yeah. But anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you? If you have anything you want to talk about as well and plug, go ahead and feel free.
Yeah. You can find me on TikTok at recovering academic. Instagram is recovering.academic. And yeah, for now, I am just kind of chilling with friends playing TTRPGs, and we'll see what cosplays come in the new year, but probably Arcane cosplays. And yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad you could join me. After this later,
Yeah.
I figure out third try trying to get this scheduled because we both had shit going on.
Oh my gosh. We did it though. Third time's a charm.
We did, but yeah, so it's fun. Definitely check out all of Forrest's stuff and all our socials. Her socials will be in the description on all the platforms, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good
Bye.
night.